Hey everyone, it's Michael from Chess Lifestyle, and yeah, we're going to be doing a morning breakfast stream. I'm in a bit of a hurry. I've got to head down to London in around an hour. So we're just going to train in the morning. I may also need to take a call partway through, so if I unexpectedly mute myself, then you know why. So let's get into it today. We're still within the 39-minute mark of training, and I thought we'd just continue with Chess Mood, actually. I think we did the double attack yesterday. Let's keep going with this. So let's get back to this tactic ninja. And yeah, the point is that this course is like generally for players below my level, but my tactics are like my weak suit, and I want to make sure that I don't have any holes in my tactical understanding. So we're just going through these methodically, but not going through all the exercises, just doing the tests, and that should be enough to determine whether we can, handle these positions. I'm curious about these come on examples. Like, what is this about? So what is the next one? We're doing decoy and attraction. Maybe we should check these out. I'm curious to hear what Avatic has to say about this.
Champions, I hope you found solutions of most of the tactics, and if the examples were challenging, make sure to come back later to the previous video and do it again. Now, I want to show you one more very important and practical idea with decoy. I call it come on. We'll lure the opponent's king to our camp and then mate him. I'm sure you will love this topic.
Ah, okay.
Let's start with a very beautiful example. It's black to move, how to continue. You can pause the video, I think.
Okay, black to play, how to continue. So we're in exchange down, but yeah, maybe we can lure the king in. Queen h4, king takes and then knight f5, and if king g5, then I'm guessing we've got something. Probably like knight f8, and there's no way to stop knight h7 mate. That'd be pretty nice. So queen h4, if the king moves, then we take the rook, and then we're winning, because we protect the knight as well. And even if there's some rook d1, there'll be at least knight f3. Seems really strong. So yeah, I think queen h4.
Okay, black is exchange down, but white's king is on g3 might be in trouble. If you play here knight f5 check, white king will run. What did black play in the game actually was very nice. They played queen h4 check. Sacrificing the queen, and now if white goes back again king h2, it's not just going back, they will lose the f2 rook, and after queen f2, like queen's rook, at the same time defending the d4 knight, and here, still being exchanged down, they are piece up. Additionally, I here have a threat, do you see it? Okay, the g pawn is pinned, so they want to play knight f3 check. So, after queen h4, white is forced to take the queen. But now knight f5 check. White king cannot go back from g3 to h2, and after king g5, will they play black? Okay, king on g5 has no moves, we just need to give a check. We cannot give f6 check because white has e5 pawn. We cannot deflect the e5 pawn as well. We can give the check with our rook on c6, but we can use our knight on d7 for giving the check and mating.
So knight f8, yeah. Okay, we got it. So, okay, let's take a look at this Lasker Thomas, the best one. This looks pretty cool, and then after that we'll do the test. So for anyone who doesn't know, a decoy or an attraction, I also sometimes call it a distraction as well, to some of my students. It's basically like you lure a piece onto a square, and then you have some kind of combination as a result of luring that piece onto the square. So that's kind of like an attraction, and a decoy, I think, is normally when you actually end up sacrificing a piece with the same ambition. Like you give up a piece to lure the enemy into a dodgy position where you've got some kind of trick. Oh, I've seen this one. This one is insane. This one is absolutely insane. If you like, you can pause live streams, right? Yeah, you can pause live streams. If you want, you can try and give this a go. This is actually insane. Basically, this position has come from a Dutch. And basically, white just finds the most amazing checkmate in like 12 or something. Let's see if I can remember it. I think it goes queen takes h7. In that position, king takes is forced. And then we bring in this knight to g5 with check, which is double check. And if the king goes back to g8, then bishop h7, king h8, knight g6 is mate. So queen h7, king h7, knight g5. If king h8, and how do we win? I guess knight g6 check, king g8 forced. And I feel like just taking the queen isn't enough, right? Because the bishop can take back. Bishop h7, king h8, and we don't have enough. So what am I missing here? Queen h7, king takes, knight g5, king h8. We're not up material in the starting position, so I'm not sure what I'm missing. Takes, knight g5, king h8. Knight g6 has to be good, and then king here. What am I missing? Can anyone in chat help me out? I don't get it. I'm pretty sure queen h7, king h7 was the start. Ah, maybe that's the point. King h8 was too strong, so actually queen h7, king h7, knight takes f6, double check. Oh, that looks a lot better. Because yeah, then on king h8, knight g6 is checkmate. So then queen h7, king h7, knight takes f6, king h6. And then we need to move one of these knights. Probably, I feel like the knight from e5 looks like the less useful piece. So maybe we move this knight to g4 check. And here there's either king g5 or king h5. No, there's not h5 because there's a knight on f6, right? So we've gone queen h7, king h7, knight f6. King h6, knight eg4, king g5. And then there's some like crazy sequence like h4 check, which forces king f4. g3 check, which forces king f3. Bishop e2 check, which forces king g2. And then there's something there. So we can't. What is the move there? Queen h7, king h7, knight takes f6, king h6, knight g4, king g5. I thought it was h4, king f4, g3, king f3. Bishop e2, king g2. Ah, and I think maybe the point was that you can just go castles queenside. And next move you're going to play rook dg1 checkmate. I thought there was a way to make it more forcing than that, but I don't see it. I mean, I guess that looks good enough to me. Let's have a look.
Placed champion on knight e4 with the knight 7 pawn with the queen. Very nice. He played queen h7. Black has this square. Knight f. Beautiful mate. So h6 is h4.
Check here. H4.
G6. Move.
G3.
Back. The knight on
Bishop
f6.
E2.
Rook h2 check.
Ah, it was rook h2. This is what I can see. Yeah. I wonder if my line is still winning. If I just castle queenside here, is this enough to be winning? Because I thought the king is trapped, and I didn't see how he avoids rook fg1. I mean, he's got no check. Looks completely winning to me to just play they have no move. But of course rook h2 is cleaner, right? Because if you can force the mate, in case you've missed something, this is useful. But I think castles queenside should also be winning. Yeah. So let's move on. Let's do the test. I feel like decoy attraction kind of tactics These are really, really good to get good at because I feel like they're very commonly missed. Like most people sees a fork, most people see a pin, but a decoy can be really tricky. And also, normally once the decoy is in the position, you can play it, and then there's very little that can be done. So if you can find these decoys and plan for them, it can be very, very powerful. Okay, so let's see the prompt.
Let's go. The first example, it's a white to move. How to continue?
Okay, so this one I would evaluate, but I've immediately seen it. Queen e8 check, king takes, and rook down to g8 checkmate. So that's pretty clear. Yeah.
The next one. It's
Let me speed up Avatic as well.
white to move. How to continue? Please. Pause and think.
Okay. Let's have a think. Okay. Getting distracted by my cereal. So I think we're a pawn down. Right. So here it looks like rook h8 check, lure the king onto h8 and push the pawn to e6 with discovered attack on the queen. The queen can block, but then we can take. And after king takes, how do you feel about that position? I'm not sure it's so clear. We have a queen against bishop and rook. And our pawn feels quite weak. Depends if that can be a strength or a weakness. e6 first, changing the move order doesn't help, because then I think just queen takes, and now rook h8 check, the king has a flight square to f7. So it must be rook h8 king takes e6. And if queen g7 takes, maybe... we can always play queen a1 check. Hit the king, hit the bishop, and then we should be up enough material. Yeah, okay. I think queen a1 is very important to see.
The bishop on the rook on h3 can create a mating net, if there was not e5 pawn. So what to do with the e5 pawn? Well, here we have two options. If you say e6, your idea is not bad. You really want to clear the path of the bishop on b2 and then play rook h8. But the problem of e6 is that after queen e6, after rook h8 check, black can play king f7.
Yeah, this is what we calculated.
Was to play rook h8 to decoy opponent's king to the diagonal, where our bishop on b2 wants him to c. So after rook h8, when black takes king h8, we're going to play king g7. Our move will be the same. e6, discover check, and the next move we win the queen. The next one. White to move. How to continue, please?
So I think that's lazy from Avatic not to show queen a1 at the end, because I don't think the material balance is completely clear just after winning the queen. But okay, this was a winning exercise anyway. So having had nightmares of this position from the black side, where basically white keeps the strong bishop on d3, and black has no knight on f6, no fianchetted bishop, no pawn on h6. These kind of like sacrifices on h7, they're so strong. And that's why it looks like d5 is just a really good move, because the queen can't take due to bishop takes h7, and otherwise it's a fork, and there's no kind of in-between moves that black can hope for.
Pause and think.
So I mean, this one's quite easy.
Pause and think. Rook d discovered, and rook d5, we are queen up. The next one. It's white to move. How to continue? Please pause and think.
Okay. Yeah, this one looks pretty clear as well. Bishop b5, skewering the queen and king. If the queen takes, then knight c7, and forks the pieces. So yeah, this is why we castle early, not to get hit by these tactics.
So we want to win the queen, and queen to the square, and we win the queen. The next one. It's white to move. How to continue, please?
Oh, that's nasty. Rook h8. If the king moves, then we can take the queen and we protect our knight, and we're definitely winning by queen. If we go rook h8 and king takes, then we can go knight g6. making use of the queen pinning the rook to the king, and this is a fork, and again we are winning. So this would
Please,
be
nothing.
a win.
Now, take your knight. Can black take the d7 pawn or not?
Okay, can black take the d7 pawn or not? Ah, so if the queen takes, we can then give a fork with the pawn. If the king takes knight c5 as a fork, and then we have a winning endgame with the bishop. If the queen takes, then we can play bishop c4, skewering the queen to the king. And if the queen takes the bishop, then knight d6 check with the fork. And the point is there, we will remain a knight up. So either will be a knight or a bishop up in this pawn endgame, and of course that's really good. So black should definitely not take the pawn and probably find a different move. Maybe like king... Is that so bad? King e7. Maybe king e7 is the way to go.
Okay, the answer is not. Black cannot take queen d7. And if you said yes, please pause notice why black cannot take the d7 pawn. Okay, because of the queen d7 we can play e6, check. Now if black takes king e6, then after knight c5 before can win the queen. But what to do if after e6 black plays queen e6? Okay, now we decoy the opponent's queen where we want her to see. We play bishop c4, we want to win the queen, and the queen c4, then knight d6 check. Fork and we win the queen. So in the initial position, instead of taking the d7 pawn, black should have played king e7 and then prepare winning the d7 pawn. The next one. It's black to move. Black is a pawn up, and we have here the knight on a6. It's in a strange position, but at the same time we want to play knight c7 and triple fork. In the game, black played queen c8, defending the c7 square, and at the same time attacking our knight on a6 and kind of trying to force us to go back to c5. What do you think? Was it a good move or not?
So the first thing I noticed is actually queen takes b5. But this is not so clear actually, because after pawn takes, rook takes, and rook takes, I think we've just exchanged. Like we've won a rook, but they've also won a rook. But what I think we can do is play the move knight c7, forking the rooks anyway. And if the queen takes now, we can play queen takes b5. And if they take our queen, we take their queen and we win an exchange. And if they don't take our queen, then we've won an exchange anyway. So I think knight c7 is very strong.
Rook c8, we are still knight c7.
Yeah,
Before,
there we go.
Queen is not defended. So in the initial position, instead of playing queen c8, better move for black would be to play rook c8. And now they don't lose material. The next one. It's white to move. How to continue? I forget to pause the video and find a nice tactic here.
White to play and find a nice tactic. Rook f8, king takes, and then queen takes g7. But then there's king e8. Oh, and then there's queen takes e7. Okay, there we go. So making use of his pin, and luring this king onto the square, because right now we can't take on g7 because the king is not pinned, and therefore the rook can take the queen. So it's all about luring the opponent into a net.
But if you say here rook f8, great job. After rook f, pawn is not defended anymore, and after queen g7, bravo. The next one.
Yeah.
It's black to move. The position is from the game Nenarkov Romanovsky. I feel to pause the video and find the very nice move was played in the game.
What a crazy position, eh? You've given up a knight and a rook to get this. Yeah, all rests on this position. Okay, let's think. Hope you guys enjoyed that ASMR. So one thing I'm noticing is that we can do like pawn takes f2, win back some material, and then threaten rook g1, king h2, queen g2 mate. But the thing is, like, that's still giving our opponent a move, right? And since our king's so exposed, we're definitely risking some kind of attack from the opponent. Maybe even a winning attack. So right now, before calculating this line any further, I'd want to see if there's any kind of forcing moves I can play to win this position. Yeah, and I'm suddenly seeing rook g1, king takes g1, now pawn takes f2, king takes, and queen g2 is just mate. So, yeah, by sacrificing a rook, we can do everything faster. Rook g1, king g1, pawn takes f2, a king back to h1, then queen g1 mate. Or queen g2. So, yeah, this just wins.
Okay, black don't have time to take the f2 rook. If we take gf2, that will give queen e7 check, and here we will have problems with our open king. And the thing is that we don't have to calculate variations after gf to queen e7, where we had here a very nice move. If you found rook g1, fantastic. After rook g1, we force opponent king to come to g1, and now...
Okay, so that's really cool that Avatic gives a shout out to my first intuition with taking the rook, because, yeah, that felt like a decent move, but then you quickly realize, yeah, maybe it's not enough.
After gf2, it's a double check. And no matter where goes the king, h1 or queen h2, it's gonna be queen g2 mate. And the king f2, anyway, queen g2 mate.
Yeah.
The next one. The position is from the game Larsen Spassky, and in this position, Larsen played queen f3. What do you think about this move? Is it a good move or not? Okay.
Okay, so if queen f3... So queen f3... What's going on in this position actually? 4, 5, 3, 4. This would be absolutely brutal if queen f3 is a blunder, because queen f3, I mean, white's up a pawn, got a queenside majority. Queen f3 just looks like such a nice way to deal with it. But oh no, queen f3. There's pawn g4 check. The queen can't take because it's pinned, and if king takes, then there's bishop h5. King takes h5. Oh wait, but the queen is protected by the bishop. For a second, I thought that queen f3, g4, king takes, bishop takes. If king takes, queen g5 mate. Oh my days. That's nasty. Who was playing this game again?
Queen f3. What do you think about after? Anyway, queen g2. The next one. The position is from the game Larsen Spassky, and in this...
Larsen Spassky. So Larsen blundered this tactic. Oh my god. So it's kind of like a good lesson to see, like, you know, whenever you put all your pieces on light squares and you're playing against a light squared bishop, there's always like some chance that there's more tactics. So just be ever so careful when trying to convert.
Position Larsen played.
My god.
F3. What do you think about this move? Is it a good move or not? Okay, here Larsen was a pawn up and he played queen f3, he wanted to exchange the queens, but this was a tragic blunder. After queen f3, black wins. Do you see the way? Okay, black played here g4 check.
Unbelievable.
And here Larsen resigned. Because now white cannot play queen g4, and after queen g4 what it will follow? Okay, not queen g5, because after queen g5, king h3, white is okay. But bishop h5, check, black wants to win the queen, and this way they decoy white's king to h5, where it gets checkmate from g5.
This is like the most brutal kind of position. Like, you've outplayed your opponent to be a pawn up, with like a beautiful pawn up as well, like just a simple queenside majority. And the last goal of the position is to just trade queens, and then you win the game, and you just miss that it's actually a trap. Wow. Bloody hell.
Playing queen f3 here, white could have played bishop f3 or king g2 and continue the game being pawn up. Similar blunder I was almost going to do in one of my games. I was playing in the World Junior Championship and my opponent was Ivan. I was black, and after a very complicated game on the move 43 we eventually came into this position where I was pawn up, but it was queen endgame and I couldn't avoid opponent's perpetual checks. Now my king on g7 is under check and that's why a7 pawn was hanging. When I was playing queen f7, opponent was giving me queen g4 check, and whenever I was going with my king, opponent was giving me checks and I couldn't avoid these checks. So after some time when opponent tortured me with his perpetual checks and we had this position on the board, I saw an interesting idea. I can play king g6 and the opponent takes queen a7. Now the pawns are equal, but I can play king h5. Now, there is no way for opponent to save the h4 pawn, so after I win the h4 pawn, I can still continue the game fighting for win. Before I tell you what has happened, I prefer to pause the video and think, is it a good idea to play your king g6 or...
Oh my god. It's king h... Oh my god. King g6 is h5 check. Oh my days. And if king takes, then queen g4 mate. Oh, when queens are on the board, even when there are no other pieces, you have to be ever so careful. And actually, this is something... See, this is the difference between me and Avatic. Like, Avatic as a junior, he actually stops himself from playing king g6, whereas young Michael would just like go for it and then blunder the mate. And basically, I remember I had a game against, he's an FM now, this player called James Morby. And yeah, we had a queen end game. Again, I was a pawn up, similar to this, but actually it was even stronger. Like, I was completely winning, like just promoting one of the pawns. And I just activated the king and the queen and the pawn, and it was all going really well. And then I just blundered a checkmate sequence in the middle of the board and just got mated. So this was absolutely tragic. I think at the time James Morby was like 2200, maybe I was like 1900, so it would have been a really nice win. Yeah, I couldn't believe what I'd just done. It was just kind of similar to this, where like I was just like being too ambitious with the position. So yeah, that was a good lesson learned. And oh my god.
Okay, I was almost playing king g6, my hand was next to my king, and it was left just half second that I play king g6, and then suddenly I noticed what it could happen. Do you see what I would blunder if I play king g6? Okay, if I play king g6, I will get mated after h5. So after king h5, I am mated after queen g4, but the same
Oh my god.
if I play king g5, anyway queen g4. So here, when at the last moment I noticed after king g6, h5, I'm getting mated, I just stepped back, and my heartbeat was so high, and we both started to laugh at and noticed that I was going to play king g6, but on the last second I noticed it's a blunder because of this nice decoying move h5, and if I take queen g4, mate.
Wow. Okay, nice. Well, that was all the test, and nice piece of history from Avatic. And we've got 12 more minutes, so I think let's do some of the streak. Let's do some of our puzzle streak, and then we'll call it a day. So okay, let's have a think. Yeah, as I said, I needed to take a call at some point, but hopefully I can take that call after the stream ends. Right, okay. We're no longer doing just decoy tactics. Now it's just any old puzzle. And yeah, we got to number 62. And then I cleared the cookies on my computer and it reset my streak. So we're trying to do it again. And the goal is number 74. And I won't go into why 74 is the goal right now, but that's the goal. So okay, so what's going on? So, equal material, they've got the better pawn structure because this is a bit dodgy. Not the end of the world though. Also, this pawn is probably weaker than this pawn. They have bishop for knight. They probably have the more active king. There's some immediate tension on our rook. So what do we want to do? I don't even know what the goal of this position is. It doesn't feel like anything's like overly critical right now. There probably is something. A big question in my head would be whether I can try and take this pawn. Because that would be really nice if I can capture that. But yeah, if I take pawn takes knight here. Let's say they go bishop c5. I also stop the king coming in temporarily. Don't really know if it's enough. What about g5? Because if pawn takes, then I can play knight g4, and this is definitely going to be a decent advantage. So then king would have to take. And do we have some kind of trick there? Again, this is like decoy, right? Well, actually no. It's only decoy if luring the king is actually achieving something. And it does, because now I take and then play knight e4. And then this fork is deciding. Most likely, I mean. I'd probably give up this pawn, and these pawns might be strong, but my king is fairly close, and if I can make a pass pawn after taking this, then it's probably winning, yeah. Okay, so I think g5 is the move. Okay, and now we can take. Yeah, so I think this endgame would be enough to win. My instinct would be that maybe we want to play king e2 here, yeah. And then when they start pushing these pawns, I can already win this one. So that means I have to play knight here, and yeah, then I have the time to actually collect one pawn and come back in time with the knight. Just fast enough. Yeah, and then the point is I can always make a majority here, I think, if needed. If like the king goes this way. I think I can always make a majority here and push this pawn and win. But yeah, definitely no harm in taking some more of these pawns first. But anyway, that was good. Let's keep going. Okay, very tempting to play with double check, because in double check the king has to move, like guaranteed. And then after the king moves, then we can go queen down, checkmate, or rook down. Actually, both would be working, so I think this is just winning. Wait, what's the difference? Aren't both of these checkmate? Oh, what the hell? What am I missing? I thought puzzles can't do this. I thought puzzles can't have alternative answers. What am I missing, guys? I feel like I'm going crazy. Like, one of... What? They're both checkmate, no? I mean, I'd probably... I don't know. Queen has to be checkmate. I feel like I'm not missing anything. Yeah, what? Oh, okay, so maybe the Lichess puzzles just know that if it's an alternative checkmate, both are fine. Okay, that was scaring me for no reason. Ah, missed the 94 fork in the end. Right, yeah. Tricky one to see. Yeah, it's that classic decoy. So in this position, a move I'd definitely be considering is whether I can sack. Because after pawn takes, maybe I can just push. And then if they push, and we push, and they push, and we queen, and they push, we could always come checkmate. And I don't think they've got like an alternative move like pushing here and then king here or something. I don't believe in it. I think we're just way too quick with this pawn. So I think we can just sack here. Wow, so he just checks. Wow, that's a bit spiteful, checking with a bishop. Okay, but this shouldn't be anything to worry about. They should just queen and be happy. Right? Ah, but wait. Then he can play king g7. Oh, that's very tricky. And then if I queen, then he goes g7 and actually gets the queen himself. So probably then I need to play king f8. He takes, then I push, then he takes, and then I queen. And okay, it's a little tricky, but probably I'm winning. Wow, what a position. Okay, I think I do need to play king f8 though. Otherwise I'm in trouble. Yeah, crazy. So this to me isn't completely clear that it's completely winning. But I would play this. Oh, and there's just a mate. Bruh. Crazy Zugzwang. Because I think, yeah, you don't want to push because then you drop the pawn. Your king is completely stuck. D5 is needed. Wow, and you're even mating like this. Oh, it's so brutal. Yeah, the queen is just so powerful. Like, even when there are loads of pawns, like, you do have to be a bit careful, of course. You can't just allow the pawns to run, but yeah, like, I had some intuition that, yeah, I should be winning. So yeah, nice. Okay, they can have multiple answers, I see. Yeah, with the last exercise. Okay, so this is next. Wow, what is going on here? I'm so confused. So we are rook down, but a pawn up, 5 pawns for 4 pawns. We also have this extremely dangerous passed pawn. So we're whole rook down, right? So if we were to play something like this and like win the bishop, it may not be enough. Also, the king can potentially escape. So what on earth do we play? Okay, let's think. So, okay. We have 5 pawns for 4. Our A pawns are pretty bad. Our F pawn's pretty good. We We have bishop and knight, bishop and knight. They've got a whole rook up. Their king is weaker than ours. Our king is pretty safe, actually, on a light square. And there's no real way to attack it immediately. So we need some candidates. So queen f8, f1 check is a candidate. Maybe queen h1, but I don't see why it would be better than queen f1. So we got queen f1. Rook takes b2 feels like it could be something, but probably not. Maybe rook takes b2. So queen f1, rook takes b2. What else do we have? Bishop takes e3. Potentially. So okay, our goal with this should actually just be to get out of this complication material up. I think playing for checkmate would be too much. Bishop takes e3 looks really promising, right? Because if the queen were to take the queen and the pawn takes back, I guess the white king can move to c2 or e2, probably c2, and then it's not so clear how we continue, because we can take the rook on c1 and they take back. And I think we're just an exchange down in that final position. Like, we would have like... Oh no, we wouldn't. No, it'd just be equal in material with a very strong pawn on g2, so maybe that could be winning, you know. This is horrible. It's horrible to calculate. Also on bishop takes e3, what if they take the bishop with the queen? Then I would probably try like rook takes b2 or something. Also looks quite strong. This is my worst nightmare of a position, because it's just like there's so many tempting moves and it's just very difficult to calculate everything cleanly, at least for me. See something popped up in chat, I'm not going to read it in case it's the answer. So what are the other candidate moves? Okay, queen f1 is very forcing, right? If king c2 trying to escape, it feels pretty good for black. If rook takes b2, they can't take our rook because our queen will take back. If rook takes b2, let's say they take our queen. I guess there, if we take back with the pawn, then they can just take our, they can't take our bishop. But they can maybe play a move like bishop g1 and just try and hold. But it also looks good. Rook takes b2, takes our queen, pawn takes. If bishop g1, we even take that bishop. Take that rook on c1. I don't know if I'm missing something. Or maybe it could just be bishop takes e3. Maybe that's just really good. Bishop takes e3, it hits the queen. If they move the queen like to e1, then at the very least we can take the rook. And I think we've regained all of our material actually. Yeah, we'd have regained all of our material, it would just be a pawn up. So bishop takes e3, if queen takes e3. Maybe we could even just like push f2. Because if the king tries to move to reveal the rooks to defend f1, then we can just promote. And I think that looks really strong. So I have the feeling it could be this. Well, the other moves, bishop takes e3, if they take our queen, take back with the pawn. They can't stop the queen and save their rook at the same time. So I think it's just strong. I think it's just really strong. I think let's go for it. Yeah, they took. Here there's no other choice but to take. Yeah, and we just get it right. Because yeah, in this position I think we can just take on c1 and we regain our material. And we still have this strong pawn, right? So this would count for something. Yeah, this was very, very tricky for me to visualize and calculate. But yeah, this is why we do these puzzles. One game brother from Yajesh, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, Yogesh, I've got to take a train down to London, and that means I have to get moving. So, unfortunately not, but thank you for joining. Bishop takes e3, queen e3, f2. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, this is just enough. And this is winning, so good find, Josh. And on that note, guys, I've got to go. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in another stream tomorrow. Adios.